Oh shit! Welcome to today's episode of AJY. It's me. But this is Caleb,
Hello.
and you guys wanted your zombie profile from somebody that's actually got experience, and that's what this is. So I'll let you take it away.
Okay, I'm playing Skull Servants, obviously. So let's start off with the monsters. We are playing 3 King of the Skull Servant. He
Give
is.
it to me backwards.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. 3 King of Skull Servant. He's the main beater of the deck, and he's really easy to get out with all the other cards that you're getting. So he can be used as combo fodder, but also he's your main OTK thing, which is always great. Next up, we are playing 3 ofs of the Skull Servant. You obviously need to play him because White Prince will send him, so you need as many as you can get because it's not once per turn, which is always great to hear. Next one is we are playing 3 of Lady in White. The same reason why we're playing 3 Skull Servants, but she can also be great protection, being able to stop battles, battle damage, all that stuff. Not battle damage, sorry about that. So then we go into more 2 ofs with the Skull Servant package, of course. We're playing only 2 White Prince because he's really easy to search out with cards like White Baking, White Princess, all them. He sends the Lady in White and Skull Servant from deck or graveyard, so you can do both. You can do both, and you can banish him and 2 other Skull Servants to special a King out from the deck. Both of those are not once per turn, so it's very easy to go and abuse him as much as possible. Then we are playing 2 White Baking, an amazing card that we got. Easy protection from damage and card effects. It's really great, and when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to add 2 cards with Skull Servant in their name. No, Skull Servant's in the text, and then you can discard one. So easy grabbing White Prince and another one, easy discard to go into a bunch of huge things.
Have you ever played him at 3?
I did play him at 3 for a long time, but I needed to go make more space for other cards.
Okay.
So, and he's also really searchable with a bunch of the cards.
Okay.
Such as with the next one, 2 White Prince. White Mare, I mean. White Mare is easily searched with, as I said, White Baking, and being able to discard him to either special summon Lady in Whites or Kings that are banished, or bring Skull Servants I think it's Skull Servants and White Princes.
Yeah, it gets to special summon the Lady in White and King,
Yep.
and then if it's Skull Servant or White Mare, it goes
Yeah.
back to grave.
Yep. So it's an easy way to bring back Lady in Whites, any of those ones. And if you really need more to swing in for the OTK, you can discard White Mare and bring back a Skull Servant, and then bam, that's an extra 2K on the King right then and there.
Ugh.
And then we're playing one more Skull Servant in this, and that is White Princess.
I don't have her.
Her effect is when she is normal or special summoned, you can send a White Prince from deck to graveyard. So that's easy. And then she also has a second effect that if she's in your hand or field, you can send her to the graveyard, and all monsters on the field lose 300 attack and defense for each level that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So it won't hurt your hurt your Kings or your Skull Servants at all because you're only losing 300.
Oh, it's all monsters on field?
It is all monsters, and it also says rank, so you can do it with XCs, but you cannot do it with links, sadly.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that was yours, too.
Yep, since it's all on field, it will make you lose some, but that's an extra 1,000 if it goes to the graveyard, so it's barely anything, which is always great to see. So then we are going more into the other thing that I'm playing with these zombies, which is the Zombie World package. We are playing 3 Shiranui Solitaire.
Money card.
Yup. His effect is when he's tributed, you can special a zombie tuner from your deck with 0 defense, which would be used for Shiranuis, and he has a second effect that you don't use ever. It's his first effect that you always use. So then you see, within the main thing that you're special summoning out of his effect is 3 Unizombie. His effect will let you target any monster on the field and up its level. So even if you want to keep him as a level 3 for Xyz plays or later, or Synchro plays, you can still use them, and he lets you discard a card to gain a level or send a card to gain a level for the turn. So you can discard Skull Servants that are in your graveyard that you don't want on the field, or you can send stuff like Mizukis and other stuff for more combos. Then that's basically, and since he's a tuner, we do a lot of Synchro plays.
Do you ever send, the like white mirrors or anything like that off of him?
I do not send white mares. The main two that you would send off with the Skull Servants with Unizombie would be White Prince or White Baking.
To get the effects.
So then to either pitch more or to add, which is always great.
That was a bad example, white mirror. But I'm saying, would you do that then? You would bring him out instead and like baking, and then get the effect, and maybe off of baking send a Prince from hand, and then get the other two.
Yep, and then more and more effects would activate. Yep.
Gotcha.
Then we are playing 3 Mizuki.
Oh yeah.
An easy card in zombies, like one of the best zombie cards. Once per turn, banishing a special one from graveyard. It's so easy to get him out. It's so easy to banish stuff, then go into more combos, which is always great. That's the main reason why he's here. Then we are playing 1 Gozuki. He is used more to send a card. During your main phase, you can send 1 zombie from your deck to graveyard, which can be used for later stuff. But it's more of a one-of. You really don't want to use too many of them, which makes sense, of course. And then you can banish another zombie while he's in graveyard to special a zombie from your hand. So it's not used that much, but it's still good.
Could come in handy.
That's the reason why you only play him as a one-of. Then for the actual zombie world cards, we are playing 2 Ballardrock. He's such great interruptions in the entire deck. Every standby phase, if there's a field spell on field, it does not have to be your own. He will come back from the graveyard, and then his second effect is every time a zombie effect is activated, which goes great with the field spell and that stuff.
Oh yeah.
You can negate the activation, or you can banish a card. You can use both per turn.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So it's so him alone is a guy that keeps on coming onto field, so really hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
And has 2 interruptions every time you do him. So he's really good.
2800 attack, has negation, banishes, and zombie world will bring him out and turn everybody into a zombie.
Yeah. So then
Ridiculous.
your opponent's effects will also be zombie effects. So then his effect will go off. Then we are playing 2 Necro World Banshee. Her effect is that that zombie world on the field cannot be targeted by card effects or destroyed, and if she is in the graveyard or on the field, you can banish her to directly activate a zombie world from deck. So she actually will stop stuff like Ash Blossom and other stuff because Ash Blossom will let you add it, so then that would be negated, but you can just activate it from deck, so they can't negate that effect. There might be other hand traps, I'm not sure. Then we're playing 1 Bloom. His effect is you can banish him and add a level 5 or higher zombie, which is either going to be your Ballardrock or one more that's in the deck. But if you have a zombie world on field, you can special that level 5 or higher instead. So then it's an easy way to bring out your Ballardrock for easy plays to extend, because he'll be back if you have the zombie world on field. And if you need other card, if you need the other level 5 or higher, it's another easy way to get him onto field. Speaking of the other level 1, we are playing 1 Jacko-Bolin. Jacko-Bolin's effect is you would send a zombie from your hand you discard a zombie from your hand to special summon a zombie, and then he's on field, so then 2215, which might not be a lot, but during your opponent's main phase, you can banish him for the turn to special a zombie from either player's graveyard.
Damn.
But banish it when it leaves the field. So it's not just adding extra cards, but it can also be that he can go banish himself, steal one of your opponent's cards, and then when they destroy that card, it might be an important combo piece, and then that gets banished instead.
Exactly.
And then he keeps on coming back. Then he comes back at the end of the phase. So then he's there for next turn. So then you can have him for like link plays and that stuff.
Yeah, even if you wanted to use him to steal somebody's card and then go into like Vampire Sucker, then you link their card away and it gets banished because it left the field.
Then we are playing hand traps in here. We are playing 3 Ash Blossom, and it's just a staple in most decks. And since she's a zombie tuner, it's even better in this deck. Everyone knows her effect, just to discard to negate a bunch of effects, and that is all for the monsters actually.
Okay.
And then for the spells, we're only playing about 6. We're only playing about 6 spells.
Really?
We're playing 3 Zombie World. Its effect at being able to turn everything on field
and in the graveyard
as zombies, and and your opponent cannot tribute summon monsters except for zombie monsters, which doesn't come up often, but it can mess up some decks
Yeah.
everywhere here and there. But it's mostly used to keep your plays going and have your Baller Jock online and good for its interruptions. And then the final card is 3 Super Polymerizations. This card is absolutely amazing in the deck because, you know, being able to just basically steal two of your opponent's monsters for a fusion summon is really good, and it gets even better with this deck because with that discard cost, you could send something like a White Prince, you could send a White Baking, then you get extra effects going off with that. So they're
Perfect.
losing cards while you're gaining advantage.
And you could steal, at this point with Zombie World, you could probably steal anything, but mainly you could steal Dragoon because they're darks. I'm sure you play Starving Venom.
Yep.
But what's the zombie monster? Well, you'll go into the extra deck right now.
Yep.
So.
That's all for the monster. That's all for the main deck.
But Super Poly, too strong.
If a deck can use Super Poly, I would advise to use Super Poly 100%. So we are playing for our Super Poly targets. 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon,
Ooh, Secret Rare.
and 1 Dragon Necro Nether Soul Dragon.
2 zombie monsters.
He's good because most decks, or at least a lot of the decks right now, are using dark monsters.
Mm-hmm.
So easy way to bring him out. Being able to, when he leaves the field, be a field nuke for your opponent makes it even better. So he's just a staple as a Super Poly target. And Dragon Necro Nether Soul Dragon, he uses 2 zombie monsters, which makes it really easy with Zombie World on field. And with his 3K, he actually can't destroy opponents' monsters by battle,
Okay.
which makes it a little bit weaker. But the reason why is because his effect is when he attacks and the monster's still on field, he generates a token that's that creature's level and that creature's attack. So when you attack into a monster, since they're still there, they lose their attack, it goes to 0, and then you make a token with that attack. So then you can basically use that same token to attack into them. Which is really good. That's the fusions that we're using. We only use 1 Xyz in this deck, and that is Leviair the Sea Dragon.
Get back those banished cards.
Yep, a lot of the cards in here are level 3, like White Princess, Unit Zombie, all
Lady in White.
Yep, all of them are level 3s, which is really easy to get him out. And with him, you can discard him. You can attach material to special a banished one that's level 4 or lower, which makes it even easier because that means you can bring back a White Prince, get him off the field again, and then you can send even more cards due to it not being a once per turn. And that's the only Xyz we're playing at the moment. For the links, we are playing 1 Link Kuribo. We are playing 1 Link Kuribo because he's just an easy level 1 sender, which a lot of the cards on there are level 1, and he can actually be pretty good protection just in case of battle and that stuff. We're playing 1 Relinquished Anoa because he's like Link Kuribo with being able to get level 1s off the field easily. But if your opponent misplaces a card, you can easily just take it from him, which is very good disruption.
Oh, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then for the Link 2s, we are playing 1 Vampire Sucker and 1 Avenged Savior.
Oh, yeah.
Vampire Sucker, actually, she can be, her first effect is, her base thing is that you can tribute a zombie monster that your opponent controls for a tribute summon. Not just so since everything's on this field that are zombies, you can use it to hard bring out a Baller Jock.
Nice.
But her last effect is the main one that you're using, is that when a zombie is special summoned from the graveyard, you can
Draw a card.
draw 1 card. And since it's from either side and everyone's zombies, that means it can be drawn multiple times.
Oh.
But also, since Baller Jock comes back every time, if she's on field, Baller Jock comes back, it's being special from graveyard, you get to draw a card. So she'll generate advantage for you.
I didn't even think about that.
An Avenged Savior, the main effect that you use for him is his battle phase effect is when you battle opponent, you can send a zombie from your deck to graveyard, and they lose 200 attack for each level. So you can easily send a Baller Jock or anything that you need, and that starts ranking up a lot of damage that they're going to be losing. So you can easily run over certain monsters.
That's genius.
Then for the last link that we're playing 1 Link 4, and that is Unchained Abomination. The main
I believe you've annihilated me with that card before.
the main reason why main reason why I'm playing this one is because it's a very easy budget card that's really good. Because you can go into links very easily with this deck. And with that, then bam, you got a thing that on field that can destroy basically 3 cards a turn if you attack with it too. But if you don't even do that, it's one pop, because it will, when it destroys a monster by battle, it will destroy another card, and then during end phase it will also destroy a card. You mostly don't use the first effect where it destroys card. But those other 2 effects right then and there, that will be 3 destructions right there, which is really good. And that is all for the links. Now we go into more what we're focused on in the deck, synchros. We are playing 1 Black Rose Dragon because it's a generic synchro monster, and it can easily it can field nuke the entire board in case you need that. And it's not as difficult to get out as possible. Because what is it? A Unizombie and a Shiranui can get him. A Unizombie alone can probably get him out by themselves, and that's an easy field nuke. We are playing 1 Beals of the Diabolic Dragons. Beals is mostly there because he's very hard to get rid of. Can't be destroyed by battle. Can't be destroyed by card effects. And every time that you take battle damage or card effect damage, he gains that attack, and he gains that damage as
Permanent?
attack. Yes, permanently.
Oh.
So if you get burned for a lot, or you take a lot from them attacking over him, he's gonna gain that, and it's gonna make him even harder to get rid of. And you normally bring him out when your opponent's already used a lot of resources. So then it's gonna be even harder to get rid of. So then they gotta scrap around a lot of things to try to grab it. While you're already generating advantage with all the links and all the monsters that you're able to send to gain extra effects. And then we play, for another level 8, we're playing Psyframe. We're saying
Omega.
Psyframe Lord Omega. He is used because he can he's easy to take a card out of your opponent's hand for that turn. But also, he can bring back a banished monster. So you normally can bring himself out. You normally bring himself back with the banished effect, but you can also do it with other cards. So you can bring out more stuff in case you need to extend more and more, which is always really great. And also being able to bring stuff back bring him and another one back from the graveyard back there is also really good to recycle resources. Then we do play a couple of high-level monsters. We play a Trishula of the Ice Barrier, Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier, because it's just really good. It's just really good effects. Being able to banish 3 cards. The summoning condition is a little bit more difficult to do, but it's not impossible. But if you can bring it out, it's really good to sap your opponent's resources. We are playing 1 Virtual World Shen Shen.
Oh.
Because Shen Shen, it doesn't really care it doesn't care about what things are used for its synchro summon, and it can basically be a macrocosmos on legs. So it's anything sent from field to graveyard is banished instead.
That's only your opponent's stuff, right? Or is that your stuff too that gets banished?
It is both. It's both sides.
And you can banish.
But if you have stuff like Zombie World, and them on field, if you have stuff like that on field, you can easily bring it. You can easily link it away, use it for other things to get rid of it, so you don't feel that effect.
And then you can banish 2 monsters from different original types and attributes from each other, special summons card from graveyard. So even if you linked it away, you just bring it back end phase or something.
It can be a little bit more difficult to bring out. No, I don't think you can, because everything in here is zombies, so it's the same attribute, and you need to have 2 different attributes, it says.
You'd have to have, I guess, some of these other synchros in there, so that's a really long game shit going on there.
This is for the way late game, and this card is actually for the late game as well. A Shiranui Sun Saga. First, he has a large stat line, so he can easily attack and do a lot of damage. But his main effect is when he is special summoned, you can target any number of banished or in the graveyard zombie synchros, shuffle them into the back, and then you can non-target pop for each. So it is more of a late game, but you can use that and not all, none of the synchro monsters are zombies, but with Zombie World on field, then they all become zombies. So if you're going really into late game and you're using a lot of your resources, you could possibly have 5 non-targeting pops. And he also has the effect that if I remember correctly, he has protection too, that if something is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish a Shiranui instead to keep it protected. Which is good because you do use Solitaire, but Solitaire is only used to bring out Unizombie, so it doesn't really matter if that card gets banished for protection. So he is more of a late game, but a way more. He's also 3,500 big beater. That is the Skull Servants right there.
Damn. This makes my Skull Servants look like the Kmart of Skull Servants. Literally, you have like combos and all these late game things where I'm like trying to go OTK. You have OTK and you have all of this other stuff to go into. So
yeah, it did take a lot of testing and stuff. Like I was playing a little while ago Mud Dragon of the Swamp as a fusion super poly target, which made no sense because it talks about attributes. And it does. It all depends on preference too, because you can play certain ratios a lot smaller. But you can also do it a lot more differently. Like you could play main TK. You can do combo if you really want to. You can do this one, which is more somewhat control.
How long did it take you to like end on this build? How long have you been playing this deck?
I have been playing this deck for, I would say, 3 to 4 years. Not exclusively, but I have had it and I've been playing it for a long time. And I have had a lot of these cards in here, the same cards in here for a long time, but there have been certain changes that I've done recently, maybe just the other week I put in stuff like the Sun Saga, I took out the Mud Dragon of the Swamp, I did all that stuff because some of it takes a lot of trial and error to figure out what you should and should not do with it.
Oh yeah, that's any deck.
Yeah.
But when you get to a point like this where you got to feel pretty confident most of the time, I would say.
Most of the time, you can normally end on somewhat of a good board. Like what is it? With just like a Solitaire, you can end on with one Solitaire and hopefully not getting ashed. The Unizombie special, you can end on a Vampire Sucker, a Zombie World, and a Baller Draw. So an extra draw and 2 interruptions right there, plus a Zombie World.
Of a 1 card.
Oh yep, off of 1 card.
Well, I appreciate this build, and I hope everybody enjoyed this deck profile straight from Caleb,
Yep.
the Zombie Master, as you can see, playing it for years. So I'm gonna get out of here. Peace. Catch you guys in the next one. Say bye-bye.
Peace.